Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on where you are in this world. God bless you. This is Gloria White coming to you from Utah, USA. Today we're going to continue in the Greek Septuagint in the 7th chapter of the book of Zacariah. But there's something I want to point out first, and I find it interesting. It's just a little historical point I'd like to point out. If we go to Daniel in chapter 9, in the first verse, in the first year of Darius the son, Darius the king. Now, if we go to Zacariah chapter 1, verse 1 and read, it says, in the 8th month, in the 2nd year of the reign of Darius. So while Daniel is captive, and God is speaking to him. Now he's under King Darius. Now here Zacariah is, and he is in the 2nd year. Daniel in the 1st year in chapter 9. And now we're in Zacharias, and here is God speaking to Zacharias under the 2nd year reign of Darius the king. So now we'll go to Zacharias chapter 7 in the Greek Septuagint. And it came to pass in the 4th year of Darius the king, that the word of the Lord came to Zacharias on the 4th day of the 9th month, which is Chesleu. And Sarasar and Arbezir the king and his men sent to Bethel, and that to propitiate the Lord, speaking to the priests that were in the house of the Lord Almighty, and to the prophets, saying, the holy offering has come in hither in the 5th month, as it is done already many years. And the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, speak to the whole people of the land, and to the priests, saying, though ye fasted or lamented in the 5th or 7th months, yea, behold, these 70 years, have ye at all fasted to me? And if ye eat or drink, do ye not eat and drink for yourselves? Are not these the words which the Lord spake by the former prophets, when Jerusalem was inhabited, and in prosperity, and her cities round about her, and the hill country and low country was inhabited? And the word of the Lord came to Zechariah, saying, thus saith the Lord Almighty, judge righteous judgment, and deal mercifully and compassionately every one with his brother. And oppress not the widow or the fatherless, or the stranger or the poor. And let not one of you remember in his heart the injury of his brother. But they refused to attend, and madly turned their back, and made their ears heavy, so that they should not hear. And they made their heart disobedient, so as not to hearken to my law, and the words which the Lord Almighty sent forth by his Spirit, by the former prophets. So there was great wrath from the Lord Almighty. And it shall come to pass, that as he spoke, and they hearkened not, so they shall cry, and I will not hearken, saith the Lord Almighty. And I will cast them out among all the nations, whom they know not, and the land behind them shall be utterly destitute of any going through or returning. Yea, they have made the choice land of desolation. God warned them. He told them to keep his law, and to not neglect caring for the widows and the poor and the fatherless. And they wouldn't listen. They would not listen. They hardened their hearts and deafened their ears. And so did God. He turned his back to them, just like they turned their back to him. And then he would not hear. And it's that same way today. These words that we read, these words that we study in the Old Testament are pertinent, and they apply to today, to our lives today. The way that we act and the way that we listen to God will be the same way he will listen to us. So stay in touch. He wants to hear from us every day. And all through the day, He wants to hear our troubles, our problems, all of our thoughts, all of our feelings, anything that we're going through. We want to ask Him to strengthen us to make it through. And He will. But don't ignore Him. It's a big mistake to ignore God, because He will go silent on you when you don't listen. He will harden His heart and stop His ears. And as always, I love you. Oh, I'm sorry. Now let's go to the King James Version and read Zacariah chapter 7. Whoops, almost forgot to put my bookmark back in here, which is my bad habit. Now, Zacariah chapter 7 in the King James Version of the Holy Bible. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Darius, that the word of the Lord came unto Zacariah in the 4th day of the 9th month, even in Chisleu, when they had sent unto the house of God Sherezer and Regem-melech and their men to pray before the Lord. Now we can see a difference in the names that they used for the men that came and worshiped before the Lord. Verse 3, and to speak unto the priests which were in the house of the Lord of hosts, and to the prophets, saying, should I weep in the 5th month, separating myself and fast, as I have done these so many years? Then came the word of the Lord of hosts unto me, saying, speak unto all the people of the land, and to the priests, saying, when ye fasted and mourned in the 5th and 7th month, even those 70 years, did ye at all fast unto me, even unto me? And when ye did eat, and when ye did drink, did not ye eat for yourselves and drink for yourselves? They left him out. Should ye not hear the words of the Lord hath cried by the former prophets, when he sent them early in the morning to talk to his people, and they wouldn't listen? When Jerusalem was inhabited and in prosperity, and the cities thereof round about her, when men inhabited the south and the plain. And the word of the Lord came unto Zacariah, saying, thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, execute true judgment or justice, and show mercy, which is loving kindness, and compassions every man to his brother. And oppress not the widow nor the fatherless, the stranger nor the poor, and let none of you imagine evil or, plan evil against your brother in your heart. It's his precepts. Remember, provide for the widows and orphans, care for the needy and the poor, and to visit the sick and those in prison, and to be kind to the sojourner. And this imagine evil against, and not let none of you imagine evil against his brother in your heart. That's to love one another as you love yourself. See how it's all woven together? Verse 11, but they refused to hearken, and pulled away the shoulder, leave me alone, and stopped their ears, that they should not hear. Are you listening? Verse 12, yea, they made their hearts as adamant stone, or hard. Remember, God took away the stony hearts, and he replaced them with fleshy hearts. Hearts of flesh. Lest they should hear the law and the words which the Lord of hosts has sent in his spirit by the former prophets. Therefore came a great wrath from the Lord of hosts. He warned them. He sent the prophets early in the morning to talk to his people. And he has sent us word by Jesus in the New Testament. And are we listening? Therefore it is come to pass that as he cried, and they would not listen, they would not hear. So they cried, and I would not hear, saith the Lord of hosts. So what he's told us in the New Testament, well, how we are to live and how we are to turn away from certain things, sins, and keep his commandments and his precepts. Are we listening? Will God listen? If we're not listening, it's history. He will turn his back and harden his heart and not listen. He will ignore you. Don't ignore God. Talk to him every day. Tell him how your day is going. Tell him everything you're thinking. Yes, he knows what you're thinking. He knows what you're feeling. But that shouldn't stop you from sharing that with him and telling him and asking him to help you where you're finding trouble and to strengthen you where you feel weak, because he wants to hear from us. Anybody that is a parent and your child moves away, what's the one thing you want from them? You want them to call you or write you. You want to hear from them. It's the same thing with our Father. And then verse 14. But I scattered them with a whirlwind among all the nations, whom they knew not. Thus the land was desolate after them, that no man passed through nor returned. For they laid the pleasant land desolate. They, the enemy, the Babylonians that God sent in to take Israel down, just like he's using Russia now in Ukraine. Revelation chapter 13, the bear with the 3 ribs in his mouth. And as always, pray for our leaders that God can touch their hearts and turn them around to righteousness. It's very hard to pray for people that we feel not so loving toward, but pray for them anyway, because God can do all things. Nothing is too hard for our Lord. And as always, I love you.